Well, the South African filmmaker and director Kagiso Lediga is the creative mind behind the series. He joins us now with cast members, actress and poet Lebo Mashile and new talent Victor Makgati, the one you heard where they were giving remarks on him probably being the richest kid in school. But I've got them all here in studio joining us. A very good morning to you. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. The look and feel is on another level. Like, it's not what I would have imagined as I read through it. How did you come up with this genius idea?
Sorry. This show actually was originated at there's a company called Skybound Entertainment out of America. They do those shows, the Invincible and The Walking Dead. And so they came with it's like a consulting company who are co-producers called Spycraft. And Spycraft is these two former CIA operatives who traveled around the world working as station chiefs in different countries, and they take their families with, you know. And their kids would go to these international schools, and that's essentially they kind of came to us and said, do you think there's a show? Because these are, like, we used our kids in the espionage, we used our kids in the work, and we, you know, it was always fascinating. And for us already, they didn't even finish speaking. We're like, yes, there's a show. Yeah. And we started developing, and yeah, here we are.
And of course, you needed an exceptional cast to bring this vision to fruition. Lebo Mashile, you're also part of this. Talk to us about your role. I mean, just looking and watching this, you just want to watch more. Just by the trailer.
Yes, I'm also very intrigued as I see the final product. It's incredible. The scale, the scope of it, the cast, by and large, it's a Gen Z show. Kishoyama 2000, it's young people who are at the center of this. I play Mewa Stering. My character's name is Nia. I'm the mother to Ella. I play a character who is she's an activist herself, you know, so her daughter gets involved, Ella gets involved in a Black Lives Matter protest in which she's protesting alongside her friend who gets arrested because a cop car ends up being, I mean, you'll see what happens, you know. So the series of events that leads to Ella coming to South Africa is basically her running away from the legal consequences of what she has participated in the United States. And for her mother, as an activist who supported her child, you know, who supports her kid's politics, but doesn't want to see her kid go to jail, doesn't want to see her kid being harmed, she's left with the difficult decision to say, okay, take my baby to the other side of the world, you know, and take care of my child. And she does this unbeknownst to, Ella obviously knows that she's going to go visit South Africa because her dad is based here. But she thinks she's coming for summer holidays, it'll be a 3-month thing, and then I'll go home. She doesn't know that she's here permanently.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And Victor, you're probably the richest kid in the school. Talk to us about your role. I mean, you come in there looking top tier. What is your role? I understand you're Ella's friend.
Yes. Noko is the richest kid in the school, and he comes off as the typical douchebag, like, you know, rich kids, you know. He lands in school in a chopper every single day, but since he gets to interact with Ella, he kind of tries to show a softer side because, you know, she's an activist. She's an American who came all the way from, you know, the U.S. So, yeah, it's really nice. And
the preparation process for you, what did it take? I mean, you're such a cool kid.
It was different, but I think that's why it was really fun to play Noko, because I'd say it's a different personality from myself, obviously, and then trying to just tap into that and really show the audience that he really just doesn't care. This is his life. This is what he's been used to. This is how he's grown up. So, yeah.
And in terms of other roles that you've played, is this your first major one that you're, you know, hoping to showcase and show everyone what you're made of?
Yes, actually. It was really fun, yeah. Thanks to Kagiso for giving me a chance, because, yeah.
Yeah, he was living in Nairobi. He's a South African kid who was in exile for whatever reason. It was like a Victor Makgati from Nairobi. And I mean, for me, the fun part of it, or the most rigorous part of this process, was the casting process. You know, casting all of the kids, The grown-ups were a lot easier because there's so many sort of seasoned performers. But where the kids, they're like first-timers in a lot of ways, you know. Imani, like the Americans ones, were like, it was so competitive. Like you have like all of these people that are, you know, it's a kind of a brutal industry, it's a robust industry in Hollywood, and you have these kids that are like, they, you know, as soon as you say action, they're there, like up and ready. They've been doing this since they were 2 years old.
Was it intentional for you to use Gen Zs in a geopolitical story? Like, was that something you were very deliberate about?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like, again, like the premise of it when those CIA dudes came, it was that, they, you know, they're kids. And for me, it was the vulnerability of children in the kind of geopolitics. The idea that whatever happens in a school kind of context has an effect on global politics, you know. So that was, I think, the exciting thing, that, you know, the kids at school could fight because they've got the same dress and you think you're cooler, and then this other one reports at home, no, don't invite those people anymore because, and then it's because parents take their kids seriously as much as they take their jobs seriously, and how do they navigate all of this type of stuff. But also the inverse way as well of how do you use your kids to influence the other side, you know, and that's kind of like the premise of it.
What was it like for you to just, you know, get into this role and really just be a part of it as you're a parent to a very fierce and, you know, dynamic kind of teenager?
When my agent sent me the part, I was like, this is me. I have to get this part. And I was at Poetry Africa. I was doing a festival. Poetry Africa is an incredible festival, but a rigorous festival. So to send a self-tape during the course of a festival was like, oh my God. But I enlisted the help of a friend, and I really had to think about my own upbringing. I had to think about kind of what it means for, even we have similar dynamics in South Africa. I mean, you look at the generation of activists from the 70s and 80s and what happened, you know, just nearly a decade ago with Fees Must Fall, you know. So this idea of lineages that pass down politics and pass down the consequences of a political life, you know. One of the things that my character is wrestling with also is bipolar, you know. She's dealing with mental illness, and she's a single mom. It's just her and her daughter. So for her to make the decision to let her child go, the enormity of that was something that I could easily tap into the emotion of that as a mom. I could easily tap into, you know, my own kind of exile experience. And the transition, that thing of moving across continents, across worlds, leaving an entire world behind, to see it from the perspective of a parent was new and fresh and exciting. And as far as making the show, I mean, Kagiso he's a genius. He plays, you know, he's very chilled and laid back, and he likes to laugh, but he's amazing when you get onto set. There's something really beautiful and special about working with directors and producers who are also performers, because they respect the craft and they can tap into intention and pull it out of a performer. So, you know, he's incredibly sensitive and just knows what he wants. We also worked with Kagiso's sister Karabo, who wrote a lot of the series as well. She was amazing. So, you know, you see the sensitivity in the script towards women and girls, and this kind of layered complexity of these women characters. You know, you have a black woman who runs the CIA in South Africa. You have black women diplomats and a whole range of representation of black women that comes from having really formidable women who are also part of the creation of the script.
That's absolutely incredible. Victor, how were you able to, you know, hone in on your character with so many big stars around you as you try to, you know, put your best foot forward and really get into this role?
I would say, since the cast was amazing, everybody brought the best forward. So it really helps you as a performer as well, because we all kind of bounce off each other, you know. It was really amazing coming onto set, and we all had the same mind of, we're creating something beautiful. We have something here. So we were all trying to amplify that, and also it was such a family vibe. Like, nobody was like, okay, I'm leaving and I don't like this person. Like, it was really like, oh, you did well. You can do this here, and, you know, I'm like, okay, this is what I can improve on. And it was really cool. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Kagiso, Lebo speaks about the two themes that really popped out, representation and mental illness, which really are a big part of our day-to-day lives and society. Why was it important to focus on those?
I mean, I think we touch on them, you know. It's not like because for me, with a lot of things, you know, sexual identity, all of this type of stuff, they're part of the world that we live in, you know. And I didn't want to be like, oh, it's about this and it's about that. I wanted it to be like, this is normal. A kid who's adopted, kids get adopted all the time. Like the idea of normalizing that it's not a show about those things being the issue, you know, because we know them as issues now. But it's like, we're talking about. So for me, I thought, especially with Gen Z, is that they're so kind of, they're so evolved in the way they see the world and how they talk about these things, and they really kind of, they don't like it when you make it about it. You know, oh, it's about this gay kid. They're like, yo, gay kids are, you know, we're used to gay kids. Don't make it about that. They're just regular people. So for me, it was very important that, you know, there's a sensitivity, but it's also kind of just like it's normal. You know, like this is what's happening, and this is what these characters are contending with, and this is what gives them color. And I guess it also gives us scope to jump off from those points, you know. If there's another season, and the idea of like, oh, what is like Nia's bipolar? What does that mean? How do we play into that? But at this point, we're just kind of going, this is the tapestry, this is the fabric of the world, and it can go anywhere.
And emotional. There's a lot of emotions here, highs and lows, and spies. I mean, that in itself.
So for me, that was in the pitch again of the show. I mean, we pitched this thing all over the world. So it's on Netflix in Africa, but it's been sold to different platforms across the world, you know. And the big pitch was trying to make them understand that it's not like a James Bond type of spy. It's a John le Carré type of spy. It's very much about deception, emotions, relationships. It's like real spies don't run around shooting people like James Bond, you know. And I've done a show like that, which I really enjoyed in Queen Sono.
Oh, that was fantastic.
You know, it was an action-adventure type of thing. Whereas with this, it's a lot more of this kind of human relationships, deception, like the idea that you are married to somebody forever, and then if you find out one day that they actually work for like some government, and this is not their real name, and they're like just lying to you forever.
Absolutely, you know, incredible. This is just a series to not miss. Thank you so much for coming in studio to talk to us about this very exciting, captivating roller coaster drama. So many emotions. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. But thank you for coming.
Don't miss it. I'm going to call you tonight and be like, what do you think of episode 5? Okay.
Thank you so much. Let's leave it there for now.